So we'll wait for 2-3 more minutes and then we'll start. In the meantime, if you want to ask anything or discuss anything, maybe introduce yourself, then it will be better because I don't know any of you and it would be better to know each other. I'll also try to ask everyone in the group to give a brief description about themselves. So anything you want to ask, not related to the course, maybe.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good. Myself Nilima Kollare.
Hello, Nidima. So,
As me to introduce myself.
Yes, sure.
I'm from College of Engineering, Pune.
All right.
And I was from the Python basic. So
And
I started joining this class.
and you are doing BTech.
No, sir. I'm professor.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? So all are shy here. All right. Thank you, Nilima, by the way. So I'll just ask everyone in the group to give a brief description. In that way, it will be much better. I guess in that nobody will feel shy. So you can ask me any question apart from this course. All right. So how is PhD and other things also. So if you wish. So any difficulty in the course or maybe any suggestion to improve, because we have had 3 classes and this is the 4th class. So you can also give me suggestions. And by the way, if I am wrong in something in explaining, so you can just stop me and correct me. Uh, I am wrong here and I'll just check that why am I wrong and how should I change or something like that. So in case I'm wrong somewhere and I'm teaching something wrong, so you can stop me and tell me this is wrong, because I am also learning along with you. All right. All right, then we will start. Yeah, I was asking any suggestions or improvement for the course or any feedback maybe. How are you finding the course? You see, I speak for 2 hours and nobody is ready to speak for two minutes. All right. So you can see my screen, right? Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Thank you. And yeah, so this is recording, and some people have new joined, so I have also sent them mail. So if you are here or if you are listening to this recording, I would request you to see all the recordings. Okay. So I'll begin for today's class. So you see, in yesterday's class, let me go back. So I hope you all have seen yesterday's class recording or was present in yesterday's class. So I'll just give a brief of yesterday's class. Yeah. So we talked about operators. So in previous class, we left bitwise operators and special operators. So we talked about bitwise operators and some bitwise operations we saw. And then we saw the precedence and associativity of operators. Then we saw special operators, the in operator and is operator. All right. Then we talked about the keywords in Python, and we cannot use these keywords for naming an identifier. So we also saw what are identifiers, and then we moved on to variable and variable assignment. In second class also we talked about something called variable binding, which is related to variable assignment in some way or the other. And we saw how to assign values to a variable, and we then moved on to comments. So how can you write comments in Python? And you see, writing comments in Python is very important, because if you write some code today and you come back after 1 or 2 months, so it will be better for you to go through the code if you have written comments. So it is always advisable to write comments in your code. In class, it's difficult for me to write comments and go with the course because it may take some time. So I don't generally write comments in class, but it will be better for you to write comments. So comments are generally for the programmer. It is not for the user. All right. Then we talked about Python indentation, and then we saw statements. So these are not very crucial concepts in Python. These are just for your knowledge. How can you write long statements in Python and break those statements in multiple lines? Then we moved on to a very important data type in Python, which is string. So it is not, this string is not only a data type in Python, it is in all languages, but we saw how Python handles, or how Python has object a string and how to handle them. So we have not seen how to handle a string. We will see it today. Now we saw some of the operations in string, like concatenation and string repetition using these operators, plus operator and asterisk operator. Then we saw some comparison operator between string. You may not use this a lot because this is not very seen in real life problems. Then we saw how we take inputs and outputs in Python. All right, so yeah, and we saw how you can format output strings with some variable values. And then we were talking about string manipulation, which we couldn't complete in yesterday's class. So from today, in today's class, we will begin from this string manipulation. All right. So you see, this Jupyter notebook is very powerful tool. You can insert image here. So actually I have inserted just few lines of code, and when you compile this code, it becomes an image. So it is a very powerful code. And not only that, you can also write mathematics here. So if you know about latex, so how many, it is not latex, it is LaTeX. So how many of you know about LaTeX? How many of you know about LaTeX? All right, so you see the PPTs which I have shown you, these PPTs are all made in LaTeX. It is a markup language which is used to create documents. So it can either be a Word document kind of form. So it will be a PDF actually, it will not be a Word document, or it can be a PPT, or maybe some other things, question paper, something like that. So these are very powerful tools to write to write some documents in LaTeX. So you can use this, and it is mainly used to write complex mathematical expressions. All right. So I'll show you one example. This is not related to the course at all, but since we are here, so I wanted to show you this. Suppose you wanted to write an equation E is equals to MC square. So it is very simple equation. All right. But if you want to write in LaTeX, so just write the equation and put $sign in front and end. And when you do so, it becomes a LaTeX expression. And you see, it became italicized. And actually in mathematics, when you see in any book written mathematical expressions, you will see that it is written in italicized form. So this is how LaTeX is written. Not only that, you can write alpha, beta, something, whichever you want. So if you want to write alpha, ALPHA, these are commands. So these are not very, you have to remember these commands, by the way. So you wrote alpha plus beta plus maybe delta. So you can all write these equations here, alpha plus beta plus delta, or something like that. All right. So this Jupyter notebook also supports LaTeX command. All right. It's not LaTeX, I'm mispronouncing it. It's LaTeX. All right. So I'll just change it to a code command, and we will move on to today's lecture. So how many people have joined? 9. Yeah. Thank you for coming. So yeah. So we'll proceed. So you see, when you write a string, so if you have a string in Python, suppose this, so by the way, this is taken from Geeks and Geeks for Geeks. So this is a very good website to learn code. All right, coding. So you see, this is a string GEEKS FOR GEEKS, Geeks for Geeks, and we were talking about indexing. So you see, the first letter is indexed 0. So if I put a string, suppose just name is equals to, and string is always enclosed in inverted commas. All right, so GEEKS, Geeks for Geeks. All right, so we have given a string Geeks for Geeks. And by the way, I would request you to write along with me. So if you code along with me, you can ask doubts from me also. All right. So you can index this. So the first letter is indexed 0, second 1, 2, 3, and so on, till the last letter is being indexed. So here there are 13 characters. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 characters are there, and starting from 0 it becomes 12. Now one important thing is strings are also indexed in backward order. So if you go from the right hand side to left hand side, it is indexed from -1 to up to whatever the digit comes. All right, so you can see when you write name, and this is how you index a string: name, box bracket, and whatever the index is. Suppose I'm indexing 0, so it will give you G. It is the first G. You can also do the same thing by writing -13, because you see G is here in -13. So if you write -13, you will get this G. All right. Now why this -1 is given here? You see, suppose you don't know the length of the string, but you want to capture the last character in the string. You can always get the length of the string by using this len function. So you can do that. But suppose you don't want to do that. So you see the length of the string is 13, and length tells the number of characters. It doesn't tell you the index. So you see it counts from 1, 2, 3, 4. So length counts the number of characters. So there are 13 characters in this string. But when indexing, the index always starts with 0. All right. Now suppose you don't know the length of the string and you want to capture the last character in this string. So you can always do name -1. So when you do this, then it will give you the last character in the string, which is S. All right. All right. Similarly, if you want to get F, this F, now you can do name 5, or you can do name -8, right? So you see -8 is there in 5. So you can do name -8. You see F. All right. So this is how you can index a string. Now you see, suppose I have a string, so I am changing the string. So suppose S1 is a string. Let me write in small letters. S1 is a string which says hello participants. Hello participants. I hope I am writing the spelling correctly. Participants. Yeah, now it is correct. So you see, every character in this string will have an index, even this space. So space is also a character in this string. Suppose you have an exclamation mark, which is a special character, then this will also be indexed. All right. So suppose you want to capture the space, so you can do S1 bracket. So you see what is the index? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it is indexed as 5. So when you do 5, then you will get the space. All right. So you are getting this part, this one. Any doubt? Any doubt? And also you can get the last character in this string by -1. You can always do that. It's exclamation mark. All right. So we'll move on to slicing, if you don't have any doubt. So I see that you don't have any doubt. Yeah. So what is slicing is, you are actually capturing, or you are actually extracting some of the characters from the string. So you see, when you are indexing, you are only capturing or extracting one character at a time. So if you say S1, suppose you are saying S13. So when you are saying S13, it is taking 0, 1, 2, 3. So this L it is taking, right? So it is only capturing, or it is only extracting one character at a time. But if you want to capture more than one character at a time, then string indexing comes into picture. All right. So you see, if you write S1 and give a bracket, and how this slicing works is, you see, this is the, you can say, syntax. The first character is start, then give a colon, then the second character is stop, and not character, input. So first is start, colon, stop, colon, step. So suppose you only want to give start and stop. So this step is optional. If you don't give step, then it will go one step at a time. So what it means, I'll show you. All right. So suppose you are saying go from 0 to what is this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Suppose you are saying go from 0 to 5, and when you execute this you get hello. All right, now you have to note one important thing here. When you are saying this start here is 0, so it always start with at that point which you are saying, so it will start with 0. But when you give 5, it will stop at 1 less than this value, so it will stop at 4. So you see 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. So you see the space is not being captured, but space is at 5 location. You can check here, space is at 5 location. So when you index 0 to 5, it will start from 0, but it will stop at 1 less from the stopping value which you have given. All right. One more thing to note, whenever you want to start at 0, this 0 is not necessary. If you don't give 0, then also it will work. Python will understand that you want to start at from 0. All right, you see I have not given a start value which is 0, but Python knows, okay, if there is no start value, then I will start from 0. Similarly, if you don't give a start value or an end value, now what Python will do, it will start at the first position and end at the last position. It will say you are neither giving me first value, neither giving me last value. I will give you the whole string. So it will give you the whole string. You see hello participants, and the exclamation mark is also there. So when you go back, you see exclamation mark was also there. So if you don't give any value, it will give you the whole string. Now you can play around with this. You can say that I will do from 0 to maybe 7. I don't know what it will be. You can just check. It will be hello space p. All right. Is it fine? Now you see. Is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So now you want to go. Sorry. Now you want to go. So this was always capturing one step at a time, but you want to skip one character when you take the extract the string. So you say the step is 2. So when you say the step is 2, it will start wherever you wanted it to start. So here you didn't give any value, so it started with 0. So it started with H, then it skipped E, moved on to L, then it skipped one more L, moved on to O, then it skipped space and then moved on to P. So this is what step means. You can say step is 3, then it will skip 2 characters at a time and then give you the output. All right. Now you can also use negative values for indexing. All right. So suppose I am not taking step now. So you want to start from 0 till the last character. But you remember when you give stop, that stop minus 1 characters are taken. So you know the last character has an index of -1. So you can also take negative indexing here. So when you take negative indexing, you see it starts with 0, but it does not go to the last character. Last character was exclamation mark. So it gives you hello participants, no exclamation mark. You can also use negative indexing in the start position. So suppose you wanted to start somewhere at -6. I don't know what it is. We will see. So when you give -6, so it will start with -1 is this, -2 is this, -3 is this, sorry, -3 is this, -4 is this, -5 is this, and -6 is P. So it starts with -6, which is P, and goes up to not exclamation mark, which is the last character, 1 less than the exclamation mark, which is S. All right. All right. I guess it is okay. Now you see, we have talked about step. There is one neat trick you can say. When you say this, first let me show this. What it means.
Okay, can you explain again? -6 means how it decided -6?
So just take this example. It is better. Just take this example. All right. So I will say name. So when you have name and you print it, so you have geeks for geeks. All right. And you see, you wanted to start with O. So it is at -7 position. Right.
Okay.
So you say -7 to -1. So name -7 to -1. So when
But
you
how
do
did you
this,
decide the position? Means you have assigned or it is what it takes?
so I am showing you how to extract some of the characters from the string. It can be user defined. So you wanted to ask the user from which position to which position you want to extract or something like that. So these values are not.
No. Okay, miss, how does Python, like, it starts from midway of the word and then minus to the left
No,
of the words?
you
No,
are
it's
saying
not.
start with -7. Start at -7 position. You see, the format is start colon stop colon step. So you are saying start at -7 position. So Python will go in the string and see what is the -7 position. It will see -7 position is actually character O.
No,
So it will
no,
take.
this is my question. So how it has assigned -7? Why not
So,
6?
so we have assigned -7. So suppose you have something like start. So you have a variable which is -7. You can take this as an input. So you can also suppose we are taking an input. So input. So let us see like this. Start position. All right. And you want to ask it from the user what is the start position. So you are saying start. This is start position. And you are saying again end position. And you want to take, sorry, you don't have to, there shouldn't be any end. So it will be input, I'm sorry, put end position. So you are asking the user to give start position and end position. All right. And you will do like this. So start at this and end at this. All right. Now you are executing this. So it will ask you what is the start position. Suppose I am the user of this code. I am not the programmer. So I am saying start at 3rd position, end at 9th position. So it will give you. So why it is giving you index
Because
error?
number of
Because
words, yeah, number of letters are more. Is it like that?
no, just let me see why it is giving an error. Slice index must be an integer. Okay. So these are, I told you whenever Python takes an input, it is string. So you have to cast it to integer. This was one concept which I discussed in last class. So Python always takes input as string, not integer. All right. Now if you execute this, then it will be fine. 3, 9, and you see it takes from this. Where is 3? 3 is here, K, and from K it will give you E, to E. So
No,
you
this
go.
is my question. This first, the input string manipulation, is it what you have defined? The first table, that from where you're taking the
No,
data.
I have not defined. You see, whenever you give
This,
Python a string,
uh,
string is what? String is actually a collection of characters.
hmm.
So Python actually assigns an index. So this is indexed 0. Python does it. How will he know what is the string? So it says that
So
this
if it is
string has,
index 0, then why it is taking value -13? Means which one is correct?
because
0 or -13? Yeah.
both are correct. Python gives a positive index as well as a negative index. So it is like
Oh,
the school name is
okay.
0 and
Now I
home name is -13. So we can have two
okay.
names
Both
in the
are
same.
correct. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
both are
Now I
correct.
got. I missed in starting. Yeah. Now I got.
All right. So what I was
Yeah.
doing is this. So let me take this below. So I am doing this. Yeah. So when you don't give a start value. So any more doubt, by the way? Vijay, please mute yourself.
Huh.
So any more doubt here? All right. So when you don't give a start value, don't and also not a stop value and also not a step value, then Python will give you the whole string. Okay, S is not defined, it is S1. It will give you the whole string. All right. Now you see, this is a neat trick. I told you when you give step 1, then it will give you the whole string. Oh, sorry, yes, whole string. It will not skip any characters. Similarly, if you give 2, then it will skip one character at a time. All right. But when you give -1, then it will invert the string. Is it all right? So it is very simple to invert a string in Python. It may take a lot of effort to invert a string in C or any other language, Java or C++, but it is very easy to invert a string in Python. Is it okay? What it is doing is it is starting at the last position and just going back, something like that. So I also don't know how it is executing this. So I may not able to explain you very clearly, but I know if you want to invert a string, this is what you have to do. All right. So in this way also, if you want to invert a string and skip one position, so you give -2. And when you do -2, then this will be the output, but inverted. All right. Any doubt? Any doubt?
Yeah, means what is it doing in -2 inverted and skipping one?
Yes, yes, inverted and skipping one character at a time.
Okay.
Now I'll ask you participants. So extract participant. So what will be the code if you want to extract just participant? Just tell me. S1 and what will be inside? If you want to extract participants. What should be inside? Come on, who will tell me?
6 to -1.
6 to -1 will work, yes. So this is a good example where you can use a negative as well as positive indexing. Any other? So I would request any other person to reply. If you don't want to use negative, then what you should do. So you see in this, it is a very good example where you can use positive as well as negative indexing. All right. Python knows that -1 is this character and 6 is this character. So this was not that example, but still it serves the purpose. All right. So any more code to extract participant? So how many people are there? 13 people. So 12 people apart from me. Come on. Are you guys listening? I hope you are. Not that difficult. Are you finding it difficult? I will explain it from the starting again if it is so. Please respond. I want participants from hello participants. If you are not getting it, you can stop me. I'll go back and explain. These are important because if you don't understand this, it will be difficult for you to write programs and manipulate strings. I have to point out maybe. Ashok Vardhan, are you getting it? Are you here? Shambhavi, are you getting it? So you joined late, by the way. Did you see previous lecture? I'll not punish you. You can say no. Shambhavi, are you here? Vaishnavi and Shambhavi, are you sisters? Are you guys sisters? All right, so nobody is responding, I guess. So you see, you can do it in many ways. You can go from 6 to everything, not everything. Exclamation mark is there, so you cannot go to last. So you can check. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you have to go to 6 to 17. Oh, not 17 because 17 last character will be skipped. So it will be 18. So why did 17 not work and 18 worked? Who will say why didn't 17 not work and 18 worked? Come on, yaar. If you're not getting it, please tell me. I'll go back.
17 we are getting participants, sir. So 18 means we get participants.
Yes. So this last 18 will not be there. It will only go till 17. From 6 to, if you write 18, so 18 will not be there. So it will stop at 1 less than 18. That's why this is working and this is not working. All right. So this is how you use slicing and indexing. So indexing is just getting one character. The index of that character, you put that index and you get that character. But if you want to get some of part of the string, it is known as string slicing. All right. I have written indexing here. Just a minute. All right. So this will go up. Yes. More up. So slicing is actually you are getting some of the characters, and this will also go up. Yeah, all right. So there are some built-in methods in strings, and mind you, we have not talked about methods in strings. All right, so we will not go through a lot of methods in string. We will discuss methods in string once we have completed the lecture on methods, or you can say functions. Functions and methods are interchangeably used. All right. So what are those? You see, when we talked about when we were in our first lecture, we were talking about verbs. So I can go back to my first lecture here and I can show you. Just let me compile this. 1 minute. Yes, so when I was in my first lecture, so we were talking about this here. So you see, when we're talking about these verbs, pick, open, look, get, you are asking it to do something, and functions are those part of code which does something for you. We also talked about this when we made a function called meow in Scratch. You are not going into the lower level implementation of those functions. You are just using those functions. You are saying that get me the meaning. You're saying look at the page. All right. So these are functions. We will talk about a lot about functions in our later lectures. If you're not getting it, you can always just ignore this part which I'm saying, but you have to remember some built-in functions for string, which is important at this time point is because I'll give you an assignment and you have to use some of those functions in that assignment. All right. So suppose you have a string which is let me say this course course is on Python programming. All right, and this is a string. You can check, this is a string. You see this course is on sorry, Python programming. All right, now you can change all the characters in this string to uppercase by using a function s2.upper, and all the characters in this string will be changed to uppercase. But you have to remember, the original string will not be changed. The original string will be same. So if you want to get the changed string, you have to assign it to a new string. So when you assign it to a new string, then you will get this string as the new string. All right. So when you are using a function on this string, this original string which is s2 is not changed. You see, it is not changed. It is same. If you want to capture the changed string, you have to assign it to a new string. So this is just a variable assignment. S3 is a variable. You are assigning s2.upper, whatever the value is. And if you want to check what the value is, you just execute it and see what the value will be. And the value will be this. This course is on Python programming, which is in caps. So this value is being assigned to the variable s3, and you see s3 is all in caps. Similarly, there are, so you can change this string to lowercase as well, which you have to write as s2.lower and give lower and give a parenthesis. And when you do this, then everything will be converted to lowercase. All right. Now you have also seen this function len, which gives the length of the string. This is a 36 characters. So it is not starting with 0, it is counting the number of characters, and when you count with 1. All right. But when you are indexing, so it is not starting with 1, it is just counting how many characters are there. But when you are indexing the position, so t is at 0th position. All right. So the position of any string or any data type in Python or any other language starts with 0. In computer science, generally anything which have a position starts with 0, if I am not wrong. All right. So these are very simple functions. There are many more functions, but I have given you two good functions which you will use in your assignment. There is one more very important function which is called split. So when you say s2 dot split and you don't give anything inside this parenthesis, what it will do is, see what is s2. First let me see what is s2. s2 is this. This is the string s2. This course is on Python programming. So what split will do is, it will split this string wherever there is space. So wherever there is space, it will split the string and it will assign these splitted string to a list, and we have not talked about list. So just see what it is doing. In yesterday's class I told you a list is actually a list of collection of any data types in Python. So you see list is always enclosed in box bracket. All right, we will talk about list in our maybe next to next class. And what it did is, it took the first string before the space and assigned it to the first element in the string, second string in the second element in the string, third and fourth and fifth. So it is just splitting the string. All right, now suppose I have another string s4 which is same as this, but I am giving some other characters. Suppose this is the string, but instead of space I am giving underscore. All right, so instead of space I am just giving underscore, and now I am saying s4 dot split, and you see I'm not giving anything inside this parenthesis. In that case it will say, sorry, I am not executed s2 yet. So when I execute s2 here and then I do this, you see there is only one element in the string. All right, there is no other element in the string. This is because there is no space. If there is no space, then how it will split the string? Suppose there is one space here and you do it. When you do it, you see only the characters before the space is in the first element and after the space is in the second element. So splits generally splits a string wherever there is space. Now suppose you want to split the string where there is underscore. All right, you want to split the string where there is underscore. So you just pass a character here. You are passing a character here in the function split, which is underscore. And now when you do it, it will split the string at underscore. Is it okay? So you can pass a character inside the string and say split at this location. Wherever this character comes, split at that location. All right. Is it all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So let me delete these cells. We will not use these cells. You can also split in any other character. Suppose you want to split at C, so you can, or P, capital P. One more thing I forgot to tell you. Strings are case sensitive. So if you give small p and capital P, it will treat those as separate characters. So you see, when I passed small p, this string doesn't have any small p in it, so it has not split it any position. But if you pass the same, if you pass a capital P here, then it will split at capital P. And one more thing I forgot to tell you is that whenever that character is passed, you will not find that character in the string. So you see, when you passed underscore, that underscore is missing throughout the in the output. Similarly, when you passed space or you didn't pass anything, you can also pass space, by the way, it will work in the same way. Then the space is not there in the string. Similarly, when you passed capital P, then it split at capital P and capital P is not there in the output. All right. So how is this useful? Suppose you have an email, suppose 1234 at the rate of gmail.com. You have a string like this. All right. And string is always enclosed in quotes. And you say email is equals to this. Now you want to know what is the email service provider. All right. You want to know the service provider of this email. So you just split. You say email dot split at, suppose you are splitting at the rate. All right. Now when you split at the rate, you will get this and this. So there are two elements in this list. Now again I'm saying we have not talked about list, but list also have indexed. The first element is indexed at 0, 1 and so on. All right. So if you give this in a list, LST is equals to this, and when you check LST, it will be the same list. Now you want to get what is the email provider in this email. So you go LST and 0 is this element, you pass 1 because you want to get this element, and when you pass 1 and execute this, you will get gmail.com. all right. So this is how actually many forms which you fill works. It checks what is your service provider. You can go on with this. You see you are getting .com, it may have .co.in, .edu.in or something like that. You can split that also. So you say list 1, we will talk about list again, I'm saying. all right. So list 1 dot split, because list 1 is a string. You see it is enclosed in a inverted commas or quotations. So whenever anything is in inverted commas, it is a string. So this is a string. This is nothing but a string. all right. So you can split it again. SPLIT, split at, sorry, I have not written S, split at dot. So when you split at dot, you will get 2 characters, sorry, a list with 2 elements, and you can get the so I'm using some notations here. It is just, this is a list, and you're saying get me the first character, which is 0, and you are getting Gmail. Is it all right, or have I confused you? If you are confused, please stop me. I'll go back again and I'll explain. all right. First we split at the rate, we got 2 lists, we got the first character, and then we split again at dot. When you split it at dot, you got 2 characters, and then you extracted the first element of this string. all right. Is it okay? Now you know I don't wanted to go here, but since we are here, I can show you a compound statement in Python. And you see, this is where Python is so powerful than, not powerful, yeah, you can say powerful than other languages. You can do all of this from 62 to 66 in one step. Just you say email.split, and you know what you will get. You will get this list you will get, and you have to capture this, right? So you say grab me the first element. So when you grab the first element, you're getting this output, gmail.com. Now you know if you get gmail.com, you can split at this at dot. When you split at dot, you get this list which have 2 elements in it. Then you say grab me the first element, sorry, 0. And when you do this, see, when you do this, you will get directly Gmail. All these things which we did in 4-5 lines is being completed in just 1 line. Just 1 line. Is it difficult to understand? I shouldn't have gone here because we have not talked about list, but since we were here, so I told you. Any doubt? So this is how Gmail actually, or not Gmail, Google Forms validates. So this is not exactly validation, because you have to check if there is a @ sign or not. Many other things are there, but you can capture the email service provider. Is it all right? All right, I hope it is all right, because no one is responding. So I am completing strings now. We will go to control flows. All right. So whenever code in Python is, sorry, not code, a program in Python is executed, so the program actually goes from line to line, so line by line. So it executes the first line, then it goes to the second line, then it goes to the third line, and so on. All right. And now this statement will make sense. Control flow. What does this mean? It means that you are controlling the flow of execution. You are saying, Python, please don't go line by line. You can go here or you can go there, something like that. Please don't go line by line. Skip some lines or repeat those lines some many times. This is what it means. Control flows. You are controlling the flow of execution in Python. You can do this by 2 ways. Either you can give a conditional if statement, else statement, or what if and else will do is it will actually say if this condition is true, then only execute some code, or you can go skip this code and go to some other code. All right, I'll tell you what it means. And loop, what it does is it says that some number of lines are there, execute again and again. So when you go back to my first lecture, you see there are if. So how Python is executing, it is first executing the first line, then executing the second line, then executing the third line. Now it is checking in the fourth line. And now with if statement, you are controlling the flow. You are saying only if this statement is true, then you execute 5. Otherwise you skip 5. So what are you doing? You are controlling the execution of flow of the execution. Now you are saying only if this is correct, then only do these two steps. Otherwise you go to line number 9, something like that. You're controlling the flow. All right. And when you're saying go back to line 3, so I have written it here, go back to line 3, this is actually a loop. You are saying execution, 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 and when you are executing line number 8, you are saying don't go back, go to line number 9, go to line number 3. This is how you are controlling the flow of execution. All right. So first we will see if-else statement in Python, and this is very easy to understand. You are just saying do this, either do this for if-else. But before going to if-else, we will just see if statement. So there may be some cases where you just want to check if something happens, do this, otherwise there is nothing to worry about. All right. So the syntax is if test condition or text expression, execute the statement. All right. So I have written some things, you can go back and read. I am explaining it, so I don't want to read it here. So you see I have given a flow chart. And if you have not seen a flow chart before, so this is a flow chart where this kite shaped or diamond shaped box means it is a test you have to perform, and it will give you true or false. All right. Whenever there is a diamond shaped box, or not, I cannot say box, diamond shape in a flow chart, it means that there is a condition there, there is a test there, or it will only give either true or false. All right. So these are not important in Python, these are general knowledge for flowchart. And square means just something you want to do. All right, this, it is not some test. So you see how if statement works. The flow of execution is coming here and it is checking if the condition is true or not. If the condition is true, execute whatever is there in the if statement. If the condition is false, you skip whatever is there in the if statement and go to the next part which is not there inside if. So we are going statement just below if. All right. So suppose there were some statement after this if without indentation. So in indentation in Python means that it is inside some block of code. All right. So this statement is inside if because it is indented. If this condition is true, this block of code will be executed because it is inside if statement. If it is not, then this statement will not be executed, and the compiler will go in the next statement after the if statement. So you will see this with an example. All right. So with example it will be clear. So suppose I am saying number is equals to 2, and you are checking if number equal to true. So we know what is equal to. It is an operator which checks if this number is exactly equal to 2 or not. Print and say number is 2. All right. So you see number is actually 2. So this statement is will be printed, and I will say print, this is outside, sorry, this is outside if statement, if. All right. So you see when you execute this code, what the compiler is doing, it is first checking this. So what it is assigning value to number. Now it is going to the next line. It is checking if this statement is true or not, if number is 2 or not. Yes, number is actually 2. Then this will be executed. Now when this is executed, it will go to the next line and it will print this statement. Now suppose number is not 2, number is 21. When number is 21 and when you execute this, So it will run this, it will have 21 assigned to number, then it checks if number is equals to 2, which is not the case, then this statement is ignored and this statement is printed. All right, you can have multiple if statement here, if number is equals to 2, or if you can have if number is equals to 5. You can check multiple ifs because it is just if statement repeated again and again. All right, it is not special. Number is 5. It is not special. It is just the same thing. You're repeating if statement again and again. All right. So this is about if. Now you see, this is a Boolean expression. We talked about Boolean expression. If you remember, it will either give you true or false. All right. So if you are having a true, 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 then print will be executed inside if. You see, this will give you output inside if, because this is just a Boolean expression. It will be either true, evaluate to either true or false. So this is the same thing as saying if true. You're just not checking any condition, you are just giving true. So it generally means that you are just want to print this statement, you don't want to execute. But why I am explaining this, because any number in Python except 0 is true. So if you say if 3, then it will be true, and if you have if 0, then it will be false. So any number except 0 is true. Just remember this, because this is not executed, that's why we don't have output. You see, you can check this outside if. Now when you do this, you can get that this is not getting printed, this is getting printed because it is outside the if statement. So what we have to take from here is that any number which is 0 will be false, and any number which is not 0 will be true. So suppose you have a negative number, then also it will be true in Python. All right, so if you give -1 here, or any number which is not 0, that is just the condition, then it will be true. All right. All right, I hope it is all right. Yes, some was unmute. All right, so we have seen if statement. So you can also have if else statement. So if this is true, do this. If this is not true, then do this. Or yeah, if this is true, do this, else do this. The same thing. So this is the execution of if else statement. So the control will come here, it will check a condition. If true, then it will execute whatever is inside the if block and then move forward. If the test condition is false, then it will execute whatever is there in the else block and then it will move forward. So you see, when you have come here, then I have to give this thing to you. You see, if else is actually branching. You are branching the code. You are saying either go this side or go this side, right? It is branching. So if else is actually a branching in programming. You branch the code. You are saying either go this way or go this way, and then again you will always meet in the point where you have a junction. So you are going this way and meeting here, or you are going this way and meeting here. All right, so this is a type of branching in Python. If it is true, then do this, else do this. All right, so examples, it is not difficult to see some examples. Suppose you have number is equals to -40 and you are checking if the number is positive or negative. So you are saying if number is greater than equals to 0, then, and see how the syntax is writing. So whenever you write this if, you are saying colon, and when you are writing colon, you will get a tab. So these are important. I forgot to mention, but these are important. Syntax you cannot change. If you don't give a colon here, then you will get wrong. So it will not be correct. All right. So these are very little things, but you have to keep in mind. All right. So print, and you are saying number is non-negative. So why I am writing non-negative and not positive? Because any number which is 0 or positive is known as non-negative. All right. Else print. You see, if the number is neither 0 or positive, it will be negative. So I am writing number is negative. All right, so when you execute this, you will get number is negative. You are just branching. If the number is positive, do this. If the number is negative, do this. All right. It's very simple example, and I think it is clear. Now you may have more than two cases. So you see, when you branched here, you had only two cases. Either do this or do this. But you may have more than two branching. You can say, if this is the case, then do this. If this is the case, then do this. If this is the case, then do this. Else do this. When that is the case, then you use if-elif-else. And this elif is nothing but a short form of writing else if. All right. So what this is? If, else if, else. All right. So this is just a short form of writing else if. So this is how you can write if, else if, else blocks. If test condition, do this. Else if test condition, do this. Else do this. Now one thing to note here, that you can write as many if-else condition, else if condition as you want. You can have 1 elif condition, 2 elif condition, 5 elif condition, 100 elif condition. It is up to you. It doesn't matter. So it will either execute this block or execute this block or execute this block. But one thing you should again remember is that if this block has been executed, it will ignore all other blocks and move forward. You can see with this flowchart, you are saying if the condition is true, then do this and ignore all this. You just go whatever is outside if-else block. Again, if this is not true, then check the next elif. If it is true, execute whatever inside the elif and come out of if-else. Don't need to execute other if whatever is inside that elif. Otherwise, you again check one condition, and if it is true, then execute this, then come out. Else, so this is last is else, whatever is in the else block, and then come out. I hope it is clear. And this chart here is showing two elif. So this is an else, this is an if condition, this is an elif condition, and this is an else condition. So it has 4 blocks here. So 4 branching is there. If, elif, else. So this is how the flowchart is working. And if you're not understanding the flowchart, please stop me. I will stop and I'll explain. All right. Is it all right? So when you see an example, maybe then it is more clear. Yes. Yes. Who is unmute? Yes, ma'am. Anything?
No doubts. No doubt. I said yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So you see, we were talking about negative and positive, but in this example, I did not write the number is positive because 0 is neither positive nor negative, and I have written number is non-negative. All right. So actually there is 3 cases here. Number is positive, number is negative, or the number is 0. All right. So we can do this with if-elif-else statement. This is why I have not written number is positive, because it is not actually positive. If the number is 0, then you cannot say the number is positive, it is 0. All right, so you can say, so you can write this: if number is equal to 0, then number is 0. All right. If number is greater than 0, then you say print number is positive. Now you write else, because there is no other case. Always it can either be less than 0, greater than 0, or it can be 0. So if there is no other case, we will write else. If there were more cases, then we could have written more elif, more elif, more elif, and then at last else. All right. And this last else is not necessary. You can skip the last else if you have covered all the conditions. All right. And you don't want to give else. So this last else is not necessary if you have covered everything. I'll show you what I mean. All right. Number is negative. So when you execute this, it will say number is negative. So what I meant is, you see, you can add one more elif and you can just get rid of else. if, and when you do this also it will work. All right, okay, you have to give a condition, number is less than 0, and now it will work. So you see there is no else here, so you can just skip the else if you have covered all the conditions, or you have many conditions and you want to capture it with else, then you can also do that. All right, it is fine, I hope. It is fine, I hope so. So now it is
Yes,
7.
yes.
So now it is 7. We can meet at 7:06. All right. So I hope you will be here. So let us meet at 7:06. We will take 5 or 6 minutes break. Hello, so I'm back. I hope you are back. Yes, so we were talking about nested if-else statement. So you see, um, nested if-else is nothing but another if-else statement inside if-else statement, or if-elif-else statement. It doesn't matter. Anything which is repeated inside another thing is known as nested in programming. So if you have a for loop, which we will talk about in this class, and you are again putting another for loop inside that for loop, then it is known as nested. All right. So if you have a if statement, and inside that if statement you are again putting an if statement, then it is a nested if condition or nested if statement. All right. So this is a flow chart. Let me make this a little bit more bigger so you will be able to understand it. Yeah, now it is good. So you see, the control is coming here and it is checking a condition if it is true or false. So this is an if statement. If it is true, then we are branching this side, else we are executing the else statement and coming out. If it is true, we are going this side, else we are executing the else block and coming outside. Now, when it is true, then we are again putting one more condition. So check if it is true or not. If it is true, then we are executing this statement and coming outside. And if it is false, then we are executing the else for this if and then coming out. All right. So if this if has one more if else condition, if else, and this if will also have an else. So these are one branching and two branching. All right. So it is just like from one point, two branches have emerged, and at one branch there is one more branch. All right. It is easy to see when you say branching. So I have not connected my iPad. If I had connected my iPad, I could have shown you with pencil. So it is just like one point is there, you have branched, and when you are branching, then at one point you are again branching. All right. So it is like that. So this is what it is doing. It is branching here. If it is going here or there, and it is else, then it is coming out, executing the else block. Or if it is true, then at that point again if is there, then it is say checking true or false. If it is true, then executing that ifs block. Otherwise, it is executing that ifs else block, and then it is coming out. We will see an example, and it will be clear. You see, suppose we are checking if a person is eligible for vote or not. So an eligible person must be eligible person to vote must be 18 or above years of age, and it must be a citizen of India and be a citizen. Suppose these are the two conditions to vote. All right. Sorry. Yeah. So you are saying age is equals to, suppose you are taking an input from the user. I'm just assigning here. All right. And I'm saying citizen is equals to true. All right. Now I'm checking if age is greater than equal to 18. If age is greater than equal to 18, do something. So I'll write this what to do. So do something else, print, sorry, p will be small, print not eligible to vote. All right. Now you see, obviously if the age is not equals to 18, then it is not eligible to vote. But if it is either 18 or above, so we have to check if he or she is a citizen of India or that country or not. So we'll check if citizen. You see, we can check equals to true, but we are not doing that because, sorry, this will be capital T, but we are not doing it because citizen is already a boolean, so it can either be true or false. So I'm just erasing this part, citizen. All right. If it is a citizen, then print you are eligible. You are eligible to vote. And one more else I can give, else is completely optional, huh? You can give, you cannot give, but for clarity of the user, you should exhaust all the cases. All right, so you should have all the things. So what I'm saying is, if the user input something, there must be some output. It is not that you don't give an output if the condition is not meeting. You should say something to the user. So I am putting an else block. I'm saying not eligible to vote. All right, and when you execute this command, you see age is 18 and it is a citizen of India. If I'm assuming we are talking about India, then you are saying, yeah, you are eligible to vote. Now suppose it is he or she is not a citizen of India, so you say false, and when you execute this, you see not eligible to vote. And if you check, so suppose I'm saying sorry, so you can check which else is executed. Sorry, not eligible to vote. You see this else is executed, because obviously 18 is eligible, so inside this the control comes. When inside this the control comes, it checks if it is a citizen of India. When it is false, then this else is being executed. All right, so this is simple, but you see this is a nested if else block, and you can always, not always, in some cases you can change it to a simple if else block. How you can do that? You see, you can say if age is greater than equal to 18, and you know about condition operators, so you can say this and citizen, then you say print you are eligible. I'll come back just 1 minute, huh? Else not eligible to vote, and this will also work. So we have already defined age and citizen, so I'm not defining it here. You see, age is 18, citizen is false, so it is not being executed. Now what is happening here? You see, it is checking these two conditions, this and this. And yesterday we talked about yeah, operator precedence. So and has a less precedence than equal to, greater than equal to. So this is executed first. The output will be true in this case because age is 18, and this is also true. That's why true and true is true. So this is not true, this is false. So true and false is false. So else will be executed, not eligible to vote. All right. So this is just a simplification of the above code. All right. Any issue?
No,
I
sir.
hope not. Thank you. So you see, I have taken two examples. I'll come back. All right. So if I have time, I'll come back here. Otherwise, I'll give you the code. All right. So these are some of the examples of if else. Actually, what I'm doing is I have three numbers, and then I want to check which is the largest among the three numbers. So I have given two algorithms. In one algorithm, I have only used if statement, if, and in the other statement, in the other algorithm, I have used if-else statement. So I will come back to this if I have time. Otherwise, I'll give you the code for this. You just check. All right. Now we will talk about a game. All right, so suppose you are in a game and you are in some level, and in that level you have a monster in front of you, and to win the game you have to defeat that monster. With you have a gun and you can shoot at that monster, and you don't know how will that monster die, so you're shooting. But when the game was built, the programmers or the developers gave the solution is that whenever the player shot the monster in the head, then he or she wins. Otherwise, you shoot anywhere in hand, leg, stomach, neck, you will not win. You have to play again. You have to shoot again. All right. So this is a simple game. What is the condition? You are in some level and you are the player. And in front of you, you have a monster, and with you have a gun. And you can shoot the monster to win the game. If you shoot the monster in the head, then you win. If you don't shoot the monster in the head, then you have to obviously shoot again. Otherwise, you will be lost. So that is not the thing we are taking care of. We're just checking if you can shoot the monster in the head or not. All right. So simplification is being done for explanation purposes. All right. So this is how the code will look like. If I'm checking not shot at on head. All right, so we are checking if you have shot on the head or not. So first I'm saying if you have not shot on head, print continue playing. So it is not print, there will be some function which will say continue playing. Again it will check if you have shot in the head or not. If not, then continue playing. If you have shot in the head or not. If not, continue playing. If you have shot in the head or not. If not, continue playing. And each if will have a else. I have not written here, but if will have a else. It will else print u1 because whenever you shoot it in the head, you win. So in this if you shot in the head, then you win and you come back outside everything. All right. So this is how the if, or this else is for this if. This else is for this if. There are many more else. So for this if also. So let me write it. Actually, it will be better for you when you see this. So it will be something like this. So there will be also an if tab. Again here will be an if. Sorry. Just bear with me 1 minute. For you, I'm making it easy to understand. One more if-else statement will be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So tab is not clear. Yeah, now it is fine. So if all if will have an else. So you understood the game? Is it clear? The game is clear? It is checking if shot in the head. If not, then you won. No, if not, you play again. If you shot in the head, then you won. All right. So this is the code of the game. You see, this is an infinite. You are just infinitely checking whether it will shoot in the head or not. So how many if conditions you give? You can give 100 if condition, 1000 if condition, 2000 if condition. You cannot just stop at some point. Suppose you are stopping at 2000 point, but the player is playing till 2001, 2002 point. Then program will not give correct answer, or it will fail. So how to overcome this problem in code is that using a loop. If you have a loop, then you can come out of this problem very easily. All right, let us see how to come out of this problem. So is this game understood, and where is the need of a loop in this game? Have you understood the need of a loop in this game?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So others are also here and nobody is responding. Yeah. All right. So I hope you are getting it. That is what I can hope for at least. So you see, first let me write this game in a loop. All right. Then okay. First let me go how I have written. So there are two kinds of loop in Python: while loop and for loop. First we will talk about while loop. And when you use while loop and when you use for loop, we will see then when we have completed while and for. So when we have completed while and for, you will understand when to use while loop and when to use for loop. All right. So this is the syntax of while loop. While there is some condition, if it is true, then execute the body of the loop again, go back and check if the condition is true. Then execute the body of the loop again, go back and check if the condition is true or false. So this is the flow chart. There is some test condition, true, execute some things and then go back, check, execute some things and go back, check, execute some things and go back, and if it is false, then come out of the loop. So one thing is very important, you should have some termination condition. If you don't have a termination condition, then you will be stuck in an infinite loop, and that is not very good in Python. Sometimes when your mobile phone, it restarts, boots again and again and again, it is stuck in some infinite loop, and some programmer in the head office of that mobile company has written some faulty code, and because of that your phone has been stuck in some infinite loop. All right. So we will see one example, not example, the same game which we have written, and we will execute that using a while loop, and you will see it is very simple to execute in a while loop. You take an input from the user, you say user input is equals to input, and you say where did you shoot, where did you shoot, head, you are giving some options, neck, legs, hands, or stomach, STOMACH. All right, and you are taking this input as a string from the user, and you are giving a colon to make it look nice. Now you are saying while, so you see W is small. All right, W is not capital, and you are checking. So you need not give a bracket, it is not important. In other programming languages, bracket is important, not bracket, parenthesis is important. You are checking user's input, and you see we have talked about some built-in functions. So suppose the user said head, but H was capital, so you just put all the things in lowercase so that it is easier for you to put the so it is, you are saying that if user input dot lower is equals to head. All right, if this is the case, then print, you say that try again. Okay, so if it is not equals to the head, because you are saying that if he has not shot in the head, then he has to try again. So you are saying try again. All right, and you are saying try again, and again you are taking some input. This input you will take from the user, and you have to come up the while loop. When you did not write, when you write head, then it will come out of the while loop, and you are saying print u1. All right, this is a simple game, you know, and when you execute this, it will ask you where did you hit. So suppose I hit in the neck. All right, it will say try again. Where did you hit? I hit in the hands. Try again. And when you write head, then you say, it will say u1. All right, this is a simple game, and you see, instead of so many ifs, if-else conditions, so many if-else conditions, which is not you know, complete inclusive. So there are many conditions which you cannot write here, but everything has been taken care of by these few lines of code using a while loop. Is it okay? Any doubt? I hope I have not confused you here. All right, so we will move forward. So this is something different from other languages. While loop has else also. All right, so what is else and why do we need else in a while loop? You will see with an example. You have a number which is a list. Again, I'm using a list. We have not talked about list, but still, okay, I have written this code. Let me just copy it for quick. So where is the code? Yeah, this is the code. So what I am doing is I am assigning this list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a variable called numbers, and I am iterating over this list. How I am iterating over this list? You see, I told you the list have index. It starts with 0. So 0th index has a value of 1. First index has a value of 2, and so on. All right. So I'm saying index is equals to 0, while index is less than the length of number. So you see, I told you about this function length, and we used it in the context of string, but length can also be used to get the length of list. All right, so it will give you 5 because there are 5 elements in this list, so this will actually evaluate to 5. So he's saying check if index is less than list. So currently it is 0. Now it will print the number. So in list you can get the number similar to what you did in string. So in string you wrote the variable, and in square brackets you write the index of that index in which you want to get the character, and it will give you that character. In list also, when you write in this form, bracket and the index, then it will, so let me show you, it will be easier for you. So suppose you have this and you are saying numbers, bracket, you are saying 3, and when you do this, you will actually get 4. So at third position, the element 4 is there, that's why you're getting 4. And when you give a larger number, suppose 8, 9, 10, which is outside this index, you will get an error. So you see, when you do this and you have given a larger index which is not there when you were assigning the list, you will get an error, list out of range, because there is no element in number 9, that's why list out of range. All right, so this is what we did, and now we are printing the number. So we are printing the number which is at index 1, then index 0, index 1, index 2, and so on, and we are incrementing the index because we want to print all the numbers. All right, and if you did not increment this index, then you will be stuck in an infinite loop, because this condition will always be true. If the index is always 0, 0 will always be less than 5. Therefore, this is important. And now we will talk about else. So else will be executed in a loop only when the loop execution has been stopped by the given condition. What I mean is that whenever the loop has been completed successfully, it has not been interrupted in between. So loop can be interrupted in between, we will see in today's class. So whenever the loop is not interrupted in between, it is completing the whole execution and satisfying the condition and then breaking out of, not breaking, then this condition is being made false and then the loop is being completed, then only the else will be executed. All right, so this is when the else will be executed. You see, when the index was 5, 5 is not less than 5, so the loop has been executed successfully. In that case, else will be printed, else will be executed. All right, so this is not important. We don't generally use else in loop, but we have else in while loop. That is why I am explaining it here. All right, so in one example, you can see when else will not be executed. So we will talk about break in today's class. Just bear with me what break is doing. We will talk about break. So break is a way to come out of the loop even before this condition is false. All right, so break is a way to come out of a loop even before the condition is false. In that case, when you break out of a loop prematurely, that is, the loop did not execute successfully, then the else will not be executed. So what am I doing here? I am checking if the number is even, then break out of the loop. All right, so we are just going index 0. If the number at index 0 is even, how do we check even? We take modulus of 2 when the remainder is 0, when divided by 2, obviously, then the number will be even. If the number is even, break out of the loop, and in that case the else will not be executed. You see, I'll write one more line here, print outside else. All right, so when you execute this, you see it print 1, it went to 2, and when it went to 2, the number was even, and in that case this break came into picture and the control came out of the loop, and this else was also not executed. All right, is it fine? What is else and why are we using else? All right, so Python program to check a number is prime or not. So what am I doing is I am trying to complete as much as possible, because I want to complete for loop and break and continue. Once I complete this, then only you will be able to complete the assignment. So this was one problem which I wanted to solve, Python program to check whether a given number is prime or not. So I'll come back to this. First, let us go to for loop. All right, so you see, in while loop, when we were doing this, there was no counter. You see, index or something, this index is actually kind of counter. It is saying it was 0, then it was incremented to 1, then it was incremented to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Generally, when you don't have a counter, we generally use while loop. I mean to say, when the condition which is inside the while loop is dependent upon the user, you don't know what the condition will be. In that case, we use while loop. You see, over here, you cannot have a counter. You cannot say execute the loop for 10 times or 100 times and 1000 times or so. You don't know how many times the user will be inside the loop. When this is the case, we use while loop. And this is very important function, not function, application of while loop. Whenever you don't know the test condition, then you use a while loop. But when you know the number of execution in a loop, then we go for loop. In for loop also, the execution is the same. The control will come to us condition. It will check the condition. If the condition is, 1 minute. Okay. Over here, there is no condition. Sorry, we are in Python. I was talking about Java. So in Python, for loop is different from what it is in Java and C++ and everything. All right. This for loop in Python is completely different from what you have seen in other languages, if you are familiar with other languages. In for loop, in Python, for loop is used to traverse some iterable objects. All right. It is a little bit different from what you have seen in other languages. What for loop does is, it can, so suppose you have a list. So suppose you have a list. Let me write a list. So this is the list. This is the list. All right. So what for loop can do is, it can iterate over this list. So first it can get this number and do something, then get this number, do something, then get this number, do something, get this number, do something, get this number, do something. And since there is no next number, then the execution of the loop will be over. All right. So this is what the this flowchart is saying. So it is checking if the last item has been reached or not. If it is true, then you come out of the while loop. If it is not, then keep executing the not while loop, for loop. Keep executing the for loop. We will see one example, then it will be clear for you. All right. So let me go and get this example. So I am doing copy paste, and if you are executing along with me, then I'll give you some time. All right. So let me just do it. And by the way, this example I have taken from MIT course. So this is a very good example, and that course is also very good for Python. If you feel, you can do that course as well. All right. So you see what we are doing. We talked about a list. So a list is iterable because it has index and elements. So list is a collection of elements, right? So whatever is a collection of elements, you can iterate over it. Similarly, string is also a collection of characters. So this is a string, and it is a collection of characters. And using for loop, you can iterate over the collection of this character. So first let me do this one, the below one. So first let me do this, and I will execute this. So I have a string S, which is actually A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, U. All right. So this is a string which I have. You see how for loop is working. It is saying for char in S. So it is just like in English. You are saying for every character in S, you do whatever we are saying you to do. So first it will take the character A, and let me bring one more loop, which will be easier for you to understand. Then we will go to this example. We are saying print the character. So you see, you are saying for each character in S, print that character. So when you execute it, you will get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, U. All right. So this is how a for loop is different from other languages. It can iterate over objects. Similarly, if you have a list, you can just say for, and this is a variable. All right. This is just a variable. You can name it anything. You can just name it I. This is not a keyword. It is I. You can name it anything. So it will do the same thing. For each I in S, it is something like that. So I have written character for maybe simplicity, you can say, so that you can read it clearly. for each character in S, print S. All right. Now in this code block, I am checking if the character is I or U. If it is I or U, so this is OR, the operator OR, then you print there is a I or a U in the string. So how this for is working? It is taking individual characters in S and it is checking if that character is I or U or not. If it is there, then it is printing. All right. So you see there is only one U, so it has printed there is I or a U. All right. Now this is a little bit different. So have you understood this, how for loop is working here for characters in S? I hope it is clear.
Yes, yes.
Now you see there is a function called range. All right. So let us first talk about range and then we will go back to that loop. So what is range? You see range, it is a function and it has also the same thing, start, stop and step. All right. But you notice when we were in slicing, where is slicing? Yeah, there is no commas. There is no commas in slicing. All right. And we had colons. But in range, where is range? Yeah, in range there is commas, so you can give a start value, a stop value and a step value. So you can say start at 0, go till 5 with a step of 1. All right, when you execute this you will get a function range 0, 5. It is not a list, you have to convert it to a list, and when you do that then you will get a list. You see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So range is nothing but it creates an iterable object. All right, we are converting into a list which is also an iterable object. Please understand what range is doing. Range is creating an iterable object. It can be iterated. Iterated means one at a time you can go in that through that sequence. All right. So range is actually creating an iterable object, and what is an object we will talk about later. Now when I am saying make this a list, then I am making that iterable object in a list, which is also an iterable object. All right. So range is also an iterable object, list is also an iterable object. All right, now we will come to here. What are we doing? We are saying for index, this is a variable name, you can give I, j, k, something, anything you want. For index in range len x. So what is len x? Len x will give you the length of S. So len x is actually 9. So there are 9 characters in S. So it is saying for each number in this range, you print this first, then it will be clear for you. You say list range and you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this list. So for each element in this list, so first it will be 0, then it will be 1, then it will be 2. So you are just taking index which is 0 at first iteration, 1 at second iteration, and then you are saying if S whatever is in the index position. So if we are saying 0 is index, S at index 0. So whatever character is there in S at index 0, if it is I or U, then print that character. All right. So one more easy example could be, you just take this loop and you print. I know it is getting a little bit exhausting, but bear with me. All right. And if you have trouble, please tell me. So it is doing the same thing what this loop was doing. This loop is saying for each item in this iterable object, for each item in this iterable object, which is this list, print S of that item. So S of 0 is A, S of 1 is B, S of 2 is C, and so on. All right. And this is just doing what this was doing. If S index is equals to I or S index equals to U, print there is I or a U. So there is an I or a U. All right. So you see, you can either iterate on string, list, or you can create your own iterable object using range. All right. So this is how for loop is being executed, or for loop works in Python. I know it was a little bit more or difficult to take, but if you don't understand this, tell me. I'll go back and explain again. Is it okay? Is it all right? And you see this in, we had talked about in the last class about this in. We had talked about, you see, when you go back, we talked about two special operators. Special operators, one was in and the other was is. So we have talked about what is in. Now we talked about what is range, and now we also talked about what is for. All right, for index in range. All right. All right. So for loop can also have an else statement. For loop can also have a else statement similar to what this while loop had. So if the for loop was not stopped abruptly, then the else will be executed. And if it is abruptly stopped, then the else will not be executed. I'll show you with an example. So it is not important. We generally don't use else in for loop, but since we are talking about this, then we will see. Here, yeah, one more line of code is necessary. Yes. So you see it has a list number 1, 2, 3, and it is checking for each item in list, print list, and you see there is nothing to interrupt the for loop. When that is the case, then this else will be executed. When you execute this, you see this else has been executed. Now when you say when the item is even, which is modulus of 2 equal to 0, then break, and in this case the else will not be executed. See, else is not being executed. Alright. When it comes to 2 and sorry, when it comes to 3, then sorry, when it comes to 2, then this condition is true and it breaks and it comes out. All right. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. What I will do is I will complete break and continue. This is important, and whatever I have left, the examples, display or prime numbers within an interval, etc., etc. I'll give you the code, but in next class I will start from there so that you don't feel left out. Anything is left out. All right. So I'm not giving examples here, but I'll give you the code of the examples so that you can refer to it when you are coming back to this code. All right. And in the next class, I will begin with all these examples because I do not want to leave anything. All right. So you see, we have seen break, and you can go and see how the flowchart of break works. All right. You see, there is a condition. So sorry, what is this conditional code? Just a minute. Is this flowchart correct? Yeah. All right. So what it is doing is, you see, this is the conditional code. Yeah. Any doubt? Yes, ma'am. Do you want to some input something? I'm little bit confused why this is not a kite shaped, and why is this not a kite shape? All right. Yeah, ma'am. An input?
The conditional code is a part of looping statement. That is, it will come within a loop, right? So
All right.
while loop or for loop, so that only is specific there.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for the input. You see, I can also learn from you. So if I make mistake, please stop me and correct me. Thank you so much. So you see, this actually this is the part inside the wall. Any loop. It can either be a for loop or it can be a while loop. So whatever the statement is inside that loop, this is what it is, and it is being executed in previous iteration, and then what is in a loop, it goes back and checks the condition. So it is checking the condition. If the condition is true, it is going back to the statement which is in the while loop or for loop. Now there will be a if condition. See, we have a if condition. If something happens, then break. So we are saying if that is there, then break and come out of the while loop. Otherwise, you perform the while loop again and again and again. All right, this is how break statement works, and I have given you some example. So for statement, if the test condition is true, come out of the while loop. Similarly, in not while loop, this is for loop and this is for while loop. All right. So examples, we have seen this, and I have also some examples. So I'll just write there, but we have seen examples of break statement. All right. Again, we have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is checking if the number, not checking, it is iterating over the list, and it is checking if the number is 4, then break. If it is not, then keep executing. All right. So when you execute this, you see it is printing 1. So this is being executed because this condition is false. So it is not going inside the if condition. So it is printing 1, then it is printing 2, then it is printing 3. Now when it is coming to break, this else is not being executed and we are printing outside for loop. All right. So this is how break statement works. And there was one more example, but I am not going to that. I am going to continue. So continue is a little bit different from break. What it is doing is, you can understand this from here. So you see you have a for loop and you have some statements, and there is a if condition. So for in that condition you are saying continue. So if that condition is true, please do not go below the loop. So whatever is there below the if condition, do not execute that condition. You take the control back to the for loop. This is how continue works. You need to understand the difference between break and a continue. So in break, the control comes out of the loop. So you see in break statement, whenever it encounters break, the control comes out of the loop. But whenever there is a continue, whenever it encounters continue, it goes back to the loop. It do not execute any other statement inside the for loop. So it will ignore any other statement which is there inside the for loop or while loop. All right. With an example, it will be clear. So this is the example, and I write the example. You see, there is a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am saying number in number. So it is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see I am saying if the number is even. So this is actually saying if the number is even, number modulus 2 equal to 0. That is, when you divide the number by 2, if the remainder is 0. Ashok Vardhan, could you mute yourself? Oh, it's Sahil, I guess. I'm muting you, huh? And is my screen visible, right? My screen is visible. My screen is visible, huh?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Yeah. So I'm saying that if the number is even, then continue. So you see, it will not print that number because it is below continue statement. When the continue is encountered, it will not print that statement. And you see it is printing 1 because if condition is false, then when it is 2, then it is continue. So the continue is being executed and the control goes back to for loop. Similarly 3, 4, and then in continue, you see we are not breaking out of that loop. There is no abrupt stopping of that loop. Therefore, the else block is executed. All right. So, ma'am, is there else in C language also for loops? I think
No,
it is
sir.
not there.
No. We have for loop, while loop, do while loop, but Python only we can see this for loop,
Yes.
else,
Yes.
while else.
And do while loop is not there in Python. All right. If you want to do something, you just write.
Do while is not doing.
Yes. So this is what there. And one last thing I wanted to tell you is, please exhaust all the cases. So when you have execution of some program, so suppose you have some conditions. So where is the condition? Like this or some other. So like this. So you have to exhaust all the condition. If you leave out some condition, suppose we were not doing this 0, you are just checking greater than 0 and less than 0. So there might be cases where the person is giving a input which is 0 and nothing is happening in the program. So you should exhaust all the conditions. Suppose you're taking an input from the users. Just give me 1 minute and so I hope I was clear. You have to exhaust all the cases. If you don't do it, then the program might not perform as expected. All right. So you see here, I have given an else statement. It was not necessary, but it might happen that the user gives some input and you're not capturing that input with some conditions. So you should exhaust all conditions. Why I am putting it here? Because in today's assignment, which I will give you in few minutes now, there may be some conditions and you have to exhaust all the conditions. There may be user input. So user can input anything. It can input 0, 1, 2, 3. So it can input some string also. And if it inputs string, you have to check if it is in the uppercase, lowercase, convert the uppercase to lowercase, etc. So you have to code for every possible cases. All possible cases you have to code. All right. It is a good practice to code for all cases. All right. And there is something called exceptions, where we will come in later classes, where the program runs into an error. The user inputs something, or you might happen something where it goes to an error. Suppose you are traversing this. Let me give you an example. So you are asking an input from the user. You're saying input and you're converting it into or casting it into an integer, and you're saying input a number or an index. You're asking an index from the user. All right. And you are just printing, and you're printing numbers, numbers, and that index. All right. You're putting, this is a keyword I, and you're printing that number. So I'm executing this. Suppose I am giving an input of 4. So when I give an input of 4, you see there was a number at 4. That's why I got 5. But in the case when I give an input out of range, so suppose I give 9, then it is giving an error. So you can handle this with if-else condition. You can say, you can put a condition if the number is greater than this, which is 4, because 4 is the index here. Then you ask the user again. You say that you are exceeding the index. Please give a number less than this. Or there is something called try an exception in Python, which we will talk about later. In that case, you will not, when this happens, you are saying that please try again, you are giving a wrong input, please try again, giving a wrong input. The user experience is not good. The user is saying, yaar kya ho raha hai, pareshan kar raha hai mujhe. This is when try an exception comes. What it does is it takes an input from the user, and in case the user has given some wrong input which will give an error, it will try to correct that input. It will just do something and say, okay, I guess the user was trying to do something this, I will do this, and it will not give you an error. Or it can give you an error, but in a very logical way. You see, here it is very clear, list out of range. But in some cases, the error is not readable. It is very unclear error. In that case, you can give a clear error. You can say, sir, the index is out of range. You can always, so you can add some lines here. Please give a range from 0 to 4, something like that. So we will see when we go to try an exception. But for the time being, you can do this with if-else condition. All right. So this is what I mean by exhaust all condition. You can think about whatever the input entered by the user. You see over here, if the user enters s, so this cannot be converted into an integer, and when it executes, it says that invalid literal for int with base 10. What does this mean? The user will not be able to understand. In that case, you can give a better statement. So you can say that with if-else condition, please input a number and not a string or a character, something like that. So this is what I mean by exhaust all inputs. All right. So I know I have left out some parts of this lecture, but I will go to those parts in next class. And for the time being, I'll show you the assignment. I will also mail the assignment, but what I have done is I have made a 80 marks assignment. Don't worry, it is It seems a lot, but it is not a lot. All right. So you can submit by 7th. So just let me check what is 7th. 7th is Friday, or let me make it 8 before the next class. So 8 is our next class. So you can submit before 8. And these are some of the instructions. The instructions is very simple. Please don't copy from net. You will get the answer of each and every question from internet. I don't want you to do that because you will not learn anything. And please don't take help from each other. You can just talk about it, get an idea, but don't copy each other's code. All right. So this will help you only. I have nothing to lose. All right. So I've given 6 questions. These are simple questions, not very difficult. But please don't get demoralized if you're not getting this also. So because coding takes time, and when you practice, then only you will able to get the hang of coding. All right. And these are a little bit engaging questions. So it is of 8 marks each, and there are 3 questions more. And these questions is you can say optional, something like that. I have not given marks for each of these questions. I am saying that if you do these questions, I'll give you 10. If not, then you will not get anything. But you can do either 1 or 2 or 3. It's up to you. So it is up to you if you want to do 1, 2 or 3. Combined marks is 10. So whatever I feel, I'll give you. All right. So this is of 30. Part A, part B is of 40, and this is of 10. So a total of 80 marks. All right. Oh, let me make it 7 only, because I'll check by 8 and I'll give you the results by 8. All right. So the deadline is 7th of October. All right. So please don't leave. I'll take attendance, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me now. Any doubts?
Submission of assignment in what form, sir?
Right. So I have not thought about it. So what I will do is I'll make a Google form maybe, and you can submit there, or maybe you can mail me. I'll write in the mail. So I'll give the instruction how to submit in the mail itself. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? So Ashok Vardhan, your camera is on. Do you want to say hi? I can switch on my camera, by the way. Hi. Hi everyone. All right. So let me mark the attendance. So yeah. So you see there are 64 participants. 2 people increased in the yesterday. So I just added them. So if you see your name here or your number, please tell me. I'll mark. I can see Dr. A. Kalyavani. So I'll mark her present. Next. So this is not 1. This is 2. Yeah. Next, please.
So serial number 3, sir.
3. Akhila. Okay. Next. Ayush Mishra. Yeah. Thank you, Ayush, for being. No, not Ayushi. I'm sorry. Was it Ayush or Ayushi? Ayush. What have I written? Oh, Ayush Mishra. I'm sorry. That is my mistake. Yeah. Next. Ranjit is here. Ranjit is here. Yeah. I see Ekita Bansal, but hello Ekita, are you there? Shambhavi Mishra. I saw Sahil Agarwal. Sahil Agarwal is here. Okay, I am just marking it in other line. Yeah, sorry. Sahil Agarwal is here, and Shiv Yogi has Vaishnavi is here. Hello Vaishnavi, are you there, or have you left without leaving
Sagar
the
Sharma.
Sagar Sharma is here. Yes, Sagar Sharma I heard. And Vijaya Mishra is here. Vijaya, did you leave?
Yes, I'm
No. Okay. So yeah, so I have marked all of those are present in this meeting. And by the way, I wanted to have an introduction of all of you so that we can have some knowledge who is present here, and we can have connections after this class also. So after this course also. So maybe I'll write a message in the group and you can introduce yourself, write your name, what are you doing, where are you working, or what are you studying, if you are what course are you studying, what degree are you pursuing, something like that. All right, so it will be better. And Ashok Vardhan, I have marked Ashok Vardhan. All right, I'll do yeah, Ashok Vardhan is here. Yeah. All right, so thank you for joining. So all the best for your assignment. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.